Thank you, councillors. On behalf of the Glenelg Shire, I respectfully acknowledge the traditional lands and waters of the Gunditjmara people and their respective cultural heritage. I acknowledge the elders past and present, and through them to all Aboriginal people. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people provide an important contribution to Australia's cultural heritage and identity. We respectfully acknowledge the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander community living throughout the Glenelg Shire and the contribution that they make to the Glenelg Shire's prosperity and well-being. The recording of the meeting. For those present in the gallery, by attending the public meeting of Council, you are consenting to your image, your voice and comments being recorded and published. Council meetings may be live streamed and the Chief Executive Officer will enable a copy of the recording to the public. Receipt of apologies, councillors. There's one, Councillor Mike Noski is an apology this evening. And we'll move on to 5.1. There is a recommendation there about the confirmation of the meetings of the last.
Thanks.
Councillor McDonald.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I'll move the recommendation that the minutes of the council meeting held on the 24th of June 2025 as circulated be confirmed.
Thank you. A seconder, please. Councillor Angelino. Councillor McDonald, any comments? I'll put the motion moved by Councillor McDonald and second by Councillor Angelino. Those in favour? Carried. 5.2, councillors, is the record of councillor briefings. Councillor McDonald.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I'll move the recommendation that Council receives the record of the councillor briefing held on 23rd of June 2025, 24th of June 2025, 8 July 2025 and 15 July 2025, A and B.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for that, please? Councillor Jowett. Any commentary, Councillor
No commentary.
McDonald?
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Nothing, Councillor Jowett? If not, I'll put the motion moved by Councillor McDonald. Oh, Councillor Carr.
Yeah, sorry, Madam Mayor. I just can't find the attachment for 24th of June 2025.
Anyone else, sir? On the computer, I can see it here, an attachment, this I can't see it on the computer.
There's no briefing record, Madam Mayor, for June the 24th.
No, it's not. It's 23rd. Is it 23rd?
There's no briefing record for the 23rd. That was our online meeting.
The 24th of June.
5.2.2.
Sorry?
Correct.
It would have been the online meeting the night before the budget. Just let me check, I'm sure. Oh,
Mr. Host.
sorry.
Madam
Mr.
Mayor,
Hall.
it appears like the attachment has dropped off the agenda, so we'll make sure that we circulate it for the council.
But that would have been the meeting. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Councillor Carr. Councillors, it was the motion as tabled on page 4 was moved by Councillor McDonald and second by Councillor Jowett. You're happy for that attachment to be attached to the minutes, Councillor Carr?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Those in favour of the motion? Carried. Good pick up, Councillor Carr. Thank you. Now, a declaration of conflict of interest. Are there any conflicts of interest in tonight's agenda? Councillor Carr.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. I'd like to declare a conflict of interest with item 9.3, the TAC Local Area Traffic Management Plan for Portland CBD. The reason is one of the proposed treatments is out in front of my principal place of residence.
Thank you, Councillor Carr. That's noted. Are there any further conflicts of interest for tonight's meeting? Thank you, councillors. If not, we shall move on to item number 7, which is the councillor activity reports. Deputy Mayor, Councillor McDonald, would you like to start?
Certainly, Madam Mayor. Thank you. The citizenship ceremony, always a happy day, welcoming new citizens to our Shire. The Committee for Portland Winter Solstice event which we're invited to, it also welcomes new residents to the Shire and helps them connect with people in similar interest groups. So that's always a really positive evening where people comment that they feel just so welcome to this community. And the Rotary Changeover Evening. It was an interesting conversation that at the Rotary Changeover Evening, driven by a strong focus on the need for community groups to work together more effectively, to maximise that effectiveness and to establish a more common communication platform, promoting all events and activities across our Shire. So that's something that the Rotary Group are working with other members of the community to move forward. Thanks, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Councillor Angelino.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Yeah, another great month out in the community. It was my first time to the Castle and Kelpie, and we started off with the Art Festival on the Thursday night, and it was a great event. Some of our local artists had some prizes there. It was well attended. And then back on the Saturday for the event when we had the street parade, the rain was kept off for the parade, but it was a great event and I really enjoyed it. And thanks to all the work that goes up there in Castle, it was another great event. So overall, it was a great time. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Councillor Joel.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Another great month for getting out into the community. A few of the things I went to that I want to speak to today is the June citizenship ceremony, where we swore in a few extra members of our community to become Australian citizens. It's always great to get to these things and speak to people that have been here for a while, but now they are new Australians. And the opening of the Bunnings store here in Portland. It was great to see all the staff all together and hear what they have planned for our community with their new stock that they have and the work that they want to do in the community moving forward. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Pepper.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, the Kelpie opening on the Thursday night was wonderful. Was there with Councillor Angelino. And then on the Saturday, another good day. And mind you, Madam Mayor, can I say, I didn't mind getting wet one bit. I thought the rain was great. And
Sure you didn't.
I also got asked to chair the Caston Senior Cits annual meeting that had a bit of a stationary bit of a recess since COVID, and they wanted to, there's a group of people up at Caston that wanted to get it going again, and there was a great turnout, and they're up and going. They got a new committee, and I thought that was a really good positive result for the township of Caston with the senior sits to get it going, and it was great to be there. Thank you.
How many did you have at the senior sits, Councillor Pepper?
There would have been over 50 people there.
Were they all happy?
Yes.
Yeah, of course they were.
Of course they were, yes, they were.
Look, I was really thrilled that you went to that, I was just thrilled to see that the senior sits has been revived in Caston, which is fantastic. So, and to have such a strong turnout was fantastic. They must have come all because you were there, Councillor Pepper.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh, I'm not sure. Oh well, you did something right. Thank you for doing that, Councillor Carr.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. Look, a big month in Castellon for me also. So we started off at the Australian Kelpie muster for the 3 days with the family, and it was just a fantastic event. Then finished off the month at the Victorian Off-Road Motocross and Australian Enduro Championships out at Corndale. So we talk about iconic events, and this one's becoming an iconic event for this council as well. There would have been over 3,000 people out there. It's hosted by the Casterton Sporting Motorcycle Club, volunteer non-for-profit group. Very complimentary of the council in all their posts. Bit of grading work that happened beforehand, the bins, everything else. Look, probably not the right forum, Madam Mayor, but I'd love to see an economic update at some point as to what that month brings. out of those two events to the Shire, in particular the Casterton area. And it'd be great recognition for those two groups to see what impact they have. So let's hope we see that at some point.
Thank you, Councillor Carr. Councillors, yes, as mentioned, the citizenship ceremony is always a really happy event to welcome new residents to the Glenelg Shire, and we had 11 residents that were conferred back in early June. Councillors, there were a couple of drought functions for farmers, getting farmers out and about and circulating socially in Casterton. Council supported the gatherings, and whether that was the barbecue night to come together socially, or whether it was the movie night just to farmers. So really well received by the community and the farmers that attended. Of course, I did all my normal, Green Triangle Fred Action, the South West Alliance of Councils, but we also had a presentation on the Kentbrook wind farm and just in relation to their community consultations. So that was good to get an update from them. The CEO and myself attended the Australian Local Government Association National Conference in Canberra, which was well received. And then, of course, I did the Portland Fire Brigade, who gave out awards of many years of service, and the longest serving volunteer was 65 years. So, and they went down from there. So it was just amazing to actually be there for that. And I attended the Victorian Off-Road Motorcycle Championships, and if you haven't seen an Off-Road Motorcycle Championship, well, I suggest that next year you should try and get out to Corndale to see the work that the local Casterton Sporting Motorcycle have done. And Councillor Carr, I'll pass on your comments to the committee. They do an outstanding job. Councillors, just to thank you all for filling in on different things, but also for getting out and about in the community throughout the month of June, and all the events that you attend is greatly appreciated, not just by myself, but also by those community groups that you go and support. So thank you. Councillors, back on page 7, there is a recommendation. Councillor Carr.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I'd like to move the recommendation that Council notes the councillor activity reports for 1 June to 30th of June 2025.
Thank you. Is there a seconder, please? Councillor Jarrett. Any further comment, Councillor Carr? You're happy with that? Moved by Councillor Carr, second by Councillor Jarrett. Those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Councillors, we'll move on to notices of motion. Councillors, I have put forward a notice of motion. If you give me the opportunity to read through this.
Happy to give you the opportunity.
You'll give me the opportunity. Thank you, Councillor Carr. Under section 26.1 of the Glenelg Shire Governance Rules adopted back on the 23rd of January 2024, I give notice to move the following motion at tonight's meeting on Tuesday the 22nd of July 2025. One, that Council writes to the Minister of Transport and Planning and to the Minister for Education and express our gross disappointment in the above mentioned report, which is, the Department of Transport and Planning School Bus Centre Review for Casterton. Determining that 3 buses be withdrawn from across an extensive district that currently provide transport for students who are educated locally in Casterton, both at primary and secondary level. Number 2, that we highlight the social impact that this will have on students through their ongoing educational and social needs, where parents will have to make some hard choices on students' ongoing education due to the cost of petrol and time constraints. Number 3, that the Council strongly advocates for equity of services across the board for our residents. And number 4, that copies of the letter be forwarded to all state and Commonwealth elected representatives for the Glenelg region. Is there a seconder, please? Councillor Pepper. Councillors, I did circulate to you the report that detailed the report that the Department of Transport and Planning issued to the Caston community through the Caston Secondary College, as they are the coordinators for the actual school bus system across the Caston region. Councillors, since this report has been released and the report determining that 3 buses will be withdrawn from service, I've had many parents very concerned. I mean, councillors are aware of the extensive region across the network there in the northern reaches and how far students come. We have students that do come from Coleraine. That service will not be affected, but there are other services certainly that will be affected. One parent has rung me and 50 minutes out of town, so to drive the children into school and come back into town, it's basically 4 hours out of their day. Parents will make hard decisions, and whether those children continue with their education in the current form will remain to be seen. I strongly will advocate for equity of services. Just because we live in rural communities, it does not mean that we shouldn't have the services and those same services that are afforded to other areas closer to Melbourne. If you live in Melbourne, you can get public transport 24/7 if you're under the age of 18. We don't have public transport options for our students to travel to school. These are the only options that they have, other than their parents taking them to school. So I do ask that you support this motion, and we write to the Minister expressing our severe disappointment on this report and the implications it will have on students' education in the Caston district. I'll hand over to councillors. Councillor Pepper, would you like to make comment?
Madam Mayor, I agree with you 100%. I think that something like this just makes it so difficult on a town that's trying to thrive. The effect that it has long term is just devastating, and it's hitting rural communities again that have gone through a couple of years of quite a bit of toughness. And I just feel that there just needs to be much more support given to these areas. And I agree with you, and I think that the more that we can do, or go in and bat for them, is what we need to be able to do, seeing that they're in our shire, and support them.
Thank you. Did any other councillors wish to make comment? Councillor Jarrett.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Looking at this report, a lot of these bus services were started between 1952 and 1962 and have run ever since. But this state government has decided to remove 3 of these services to needy and needed areas of the Caston area is, in my view, disgusting. That they've decided to make cuts here. It's just more of the same from this state government. If it's not cutting bus services, it's underfunding the roads or whacking on new taxes on our residents. It is basically a disgusting use of their power. And I thank you for bringing this before this council.
Thank you, Councillor Jarrett. Councillor McDonald.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I'd just like to reiterate the social impact that this will have on the students alongside their educational impact. Many of these students, the only social impact they may have if they're on remote properties is to come to school and to integrate with their peers.
Councillor Cole.
Yeah, look, Madam Mayor, it's just a kick in the guts for these country kids. More and more we hear free transport for kids in the city. Now there's no transport for kids in the country. As Councillor Jowett said, nearly 70 years ago these services were put in place. We are turning the clock back 70 years. These families, they pay their taxes, big properties, probably putting food on people's table down in Parliament. They can't even provide a bus so their kids can go to school. Tell you what, I struggle as to who would think of such an idea.
Yeah, I struggle. Councillor Angelino.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Yeah, growing up in Hayward, when they actually did bring a lot of the rural schools in, there was about 5 or 6 actually closed, and they brought into the consolidated, and they had 5 or 6 buses. And if you start with just one little area of Victoria, and then some of these other towns have not as many kids on the buses, well, where is it going to stop? I mean, there was kids from Dartmoor, there was kids from Mumbai. If they didn't get on those buses and come whether it's the tech or the high school to get an education, and then that whole town collapses because the people have to move away, or they have to go find some other way of doing it. So that was the idea of bringing all these schools and smaller schools, the rural schools, in now. And now, if we can't even get bus services to bring them into whether it's Hayward, whether it's Portland, wherever, how are we going to keep our towns together and prospering? So thanks, Madam Mayor. So hopefully we'll get some sort of positive way around the situation.
Thank you, Councillor Angelino. Thank you, councillors. And look, I just am so devastated in the fact that they've picked off 3 bus routes, just 3, and they're not going to continue to consolidate them, to expand that, to pick up those routes, if that makes sense. You know, out of all the buses, they're just going to knock off the 3 bus routes. So the impact on the families is significant. The impact on the students will be significant. And, you know, as you said, Councillor Carr, these are the families that put food on the table in Melbourne. And, you know, the fact that they were impacted in this way and they don't have any alternate arrangements in place is really, really devastating for our community. Councillors, I think we all understand the impact this is going to have, and the motion was put forward by myself as a notice of motion, and it was seconded by Councillor Pepper. Those in favour? Thank you, councillors. We'll move on to our management reports. Councillors, number 9, the first management report is the draft Council and Wellbeing Plan. Mr Jackson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councillors, the Local Government Act requires Council to prepare a council plan within the year following an election, setting out strategic direction and priorities for the next 4 years. This plan ensures Council's work is aligned with both the needs and aspirations of the community. In addition, the Public Health and Wellbeing Act also mandates Council develop a public health and wellbeing plan to guide actions that promote and protect the health and wellbeing of the community. For the period of 2025 to 2029, these 2 statutory requirements have been integrated into a single council and wellbeing plan, enabling stronger alignment between strategic and health objectives, improved coordination and enhanced transparency and accountability. The plan, built around 6 key themes, has been shaped through extensive community consultation and engagement. The development of an annual action plan will outline how Council will deliver on the objectives of the plan, whilst also providing opportunity to adapt to new data and emerging trends during the next 4 years. This draft Council and Wellbeing Plan is presented to Council this evening for endorsement, that it be placed on public exhibition for a period of 28 days.
Thank you, Mr Jackson. Councillors, are there any questions of Mr Jackson or any comments you wish to make? No, if there's a recommendation there on page 13. Councillor McDonald.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I'll move the recommendation that Council endorses the draft Council and Wellbeing Plan 2025 to 29 to be placed on public exhibition for a period of 4 weeks from 23rd of July to the 20th of August 2025.
Have a seconder, please. Councillor Angelino. Councillor McDonald.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I'd just like to make the comment that Glenelg Shire Council has integrated the council plan and the wellbeing plan, and that required a great deal of work and an application to the Minister. So I congratulate the staff on combining those 2 plans, and I think it's resulted in a much more integrated, much more meaningful plan for our community, where we can see where our plans come from in terms of the benefit of our community.
Councillor Angelino, did you
Yeah,
want
thanks,
to
Madam
comment?
Mayor. Yeah, also I want to reiterate all the work the council staff have done, and there's been many meetings and we've gone over, and this plan sets out our wellbeing and our development plan for the next 4 years. So I want people to get a hold of it, or if they can go in and ask for a copy of it, whatever, read it. And if you have some consultation and some feedback, we need that. And it's our community document. It's not just our document, it's the whole community to have their say in it. And that's what I look forward to the next 4 years. Thanks, Maria.
Thank you. If councillors will indulge me, I'll make some comment on our council and wellbeing plan. We did extensive consultation, councillors, and we did we had so many participants across our workshop. There were 90 odd participants. We engaged with 105 children across the Shire. We also had some surveys, 106 postcard surveys submitted, and 226 community and staff surveys. But the submissions we had 288 submissions from 130 people, and we certainly had 62 young people that participated in that. And then, of course, we did the review of our 2040 community vision, and there were 21 surveys submitted in relation to the review of the 2040 vision. Councillors, we've divided our council plan and health and wellbeing plan into 6 different themes that we're calling it, our natural environment, our education and employment industry, our health and wellbeing, our access, transport and technology, our lifestyle, neighbourhood and culture, and then, of course, our voice action. Councillors, this will go out now for consultation and for 4 weeks, and we are really hoping that the community get behind this. This is our roadmap for what we will do over the next 4 years, and embrace this, and the implementation plan will be attached to this once we have signed off on it. So I really do encourage you to go out there, sell this plan to our community. It is their plan about what we will do over the coming 4 years in our communities. Are there any further comments from anybody around the table? If not, I'm happy to move the recommendation moved by Councillor McDonald and second by Councillor Angelino. Those in favour? Carried. CEO, I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank the staff for all their work in preparing this document, and if you could please pass that on. Councillors, 9.2 is the delegation's update in July 2025. Mr. Holt.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As councillors can see, the report identifies in excess of 100 different legislative instruments that a council must abide by in delivery of its day-to-day duties. As part of this process, these decisions cannot be done by councillors. They need to be undertaken essentially by staff. The delegation provides the power to staff of those pieces of legislation. It's reviewed twice a year and is presented for councillor consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Holt. Councillors, any questions on this report? Councillor Carr.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. Look, there is 378 pages in one of these, but I think one of the delegations, Madam Mayor, which has probably been front of mind for this council over the past 6 to 12 months is that around heavy vehicle applications on residential streets. Can we get an explanation of which one that is and what the current process is, please, under this framework?
That's right. Mr. Moyne, Mr. Holt. Mr. Moyne, thank you.
Madam Mayor, through you. Thanks for the question, Councillor Carr. So, as it currently stands, heavy vehicle access and B-double consents are dealt with through the Heavy Vehicle National Law that provides officers with delegation to make decisions for consent for use for B-double access and heavy vehicles on local roads. We've identified a policy gap and some opportunities for improvement to assist with the implementation of that legislation in identifying a heavy vehicle access policy for council that then will guide delegations and an opportunity to review delegations regarding permanent changes moving forward. So that will be reviewed further with councillors.
Thank you, Mr Moyne. Councillor Khan, happy with that?
Further.
Any further questions, councillors? If there's no further questions, there's a recommendation there on page 16. Councillor Carr.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. I'd like to move the recommendation on page 16 in its entirety, being 1, 2 and 3.
Thank you, Councillor Carr. Is there a seconder for that, please? Councillor Pepper. Councillor Carr.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. It's quite procedural, I believe.
What was that?
Procedural.
It's procedural. It is. Thank you.
Important.
If there's no further comments, I'll put the motion. It's been moved by Councillor Carr and seconded by Councillor Pepper. Those in favour? Carried. Thank you. We'll move on to 9.3. Councillor Carr is leaving the room as he has declared a conflict of interest in this item. Thank you, Councillor Carr. Councillors. Mr Moyne, would you like to introduce this one?
Thanks very much, Madam Mayor. Through you, I present this report to Council with a final draft local area traffic management plan for the Portland CBD and medical precincts. The need to prepare the LATM, as it's known, was previously identified by council officers to provide a strategic framework for managing traffic, pedestrian and cycling movements. It aims to respond to community concerns and needs to deliver a safer and more accessible area. Council was successful in obtaining funding to prepare the LATM, which has been through an extensive process involving 2 stages of community consultation in 2024 and early 2025, and ongoing work with specialist traffic engineering consultants. The LATM has been prepared to meet current engineering standards for local area traffic management. The study area covers the central business district of Portland and the medical precincts, encompassing streets including Percy Street, Henty Street, Otway, Fern and Bentinck Streets, and the precinct includes health facilities, retail, the commercial centre of town, aged care and schools, making it an important location to plan for. The LATM provides recommended treatments and interventions for council to take forward on a staged basis, including raised pedestrian crossings, reconfiguration of intersections, signage and line marking, curb extensions and refuge islands for pedestrian safety. Importantly, the plan will provide a strategic context supporting future grant applications to undertake capital works, including through the Safer Local Roads and Streets program offered by the Department of Transport and Planning, which provides council with a maximum amount of $2 million grant funding to improve local road safety. Building upon the plan and existing road management and safety data, officers will continue to work through with DTP and the Transport Accident Commission to further scope and design projects, and that plan is presented for council's adoption and to authorise future grant applications to be made. Recommendations provided before you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Moyne. Councillors, any questions for Mr Moyne this evening? Councillor Pepper.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Mr Moyne. If requests come in for to reduce speed on, in Percy Street, or if there are requests come in for speeds to increase or decrease or whatever, what's the process there in that for that in the future?
Yeah.
Mr Moyne.
Through you, Madam Mayor. Thank you for the question, Councillor Pepper. So, council is a road manager, but isn't a road authority that can change speed limits itself. This plan, the LATM, does provide an important basis to identify changes in speed limits or to review speed limits moving forward, and the plan will provide a basis to then undertake further detailed assessments around speed limits within Portland, as an example, and the study area itself undertake further consultation with key stakeholders, being property owners, businesses, Victoria Police and others, and then go through an approvals process with Department of Transport and Planning. So the plan itself provides a basis for speed limit review moving ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions, councillors?
Thank you.
Okay, there's a recommendation there on page 20 for council Councillor Angelino.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I'd like to move the motion that 1, we adopt the local area traffic management plan, Portland CBD Medical Precinct, final report revision D. 2, approves the Director of Infrastructure Services to utilise the local area traffic management plan to apply for grant funding for its implementation.
Thank you, Councillor Angelino. A seconder, please. Councillor Jarman. Councillor Angelino.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. This report goes into all the future developments in traffic and movement of people and e-scooters and mobility scooters, which are an important part of all our community, and we need to make sure that there's diversification and there's people that are kept safe. And this has been a long study that's gone through many times about which is the best way of trying to improve the safety of everybody that uses the roads and the footpaths and whatever. So it's a great thing, and we'll get through that implementation, and we'll hopefully make all our streets and our residents safer getting around their towns.
Thank you, Councillor Angelino. Councillor Jarman, did you want to comment?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The report that's mentioned here is 99 pages long. I recommend anybody that's interested in the safety of Portland and the CBD in particular to have a look at this report. It is very well put together. The safety improvements that are being proposed are very, very well thought out. I think that if we can get all of them done, it would be a great thing for our town. I don't know if we're going to be able to get the money for all of them, but any that we can implement will be a great thing for Portland. Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, it's a very good report. I mean, it's I think over $3 million of work. I mean, we could chip away at it. At least we've got the plan now.
Yes.
And we've done all the hard work behind it, Mr. Moyne. Is that the theory?
Exactly.
Done
right.
all the hard work, and
yes,
now
that's exactly
we
right.
just need the money.
Yeah, the plan provides the basis for funding moving forward.
Yeah. Thank you. Any further comments, councillors? If not, I'll put the motion as tabled on page 20, moved by Councillor Angelino, second by Councillor Jarlett. Those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Thanks, Councillor McDonald.
Yes. Stage left.
Done well.
It was cold out there. All right. We'll move on, councillors, to 9.4, the Master Leaf Facility. Mr. Hall.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There are times when it's better for council to lease items rather than outright purchase. IT and office equipment are examples that that often occurs in. We have had a master lease facility in play for many years. We've undertaken a process to review the terms that are offered under that master lease, and it's a recommendation before council that we enter into arrangements with 2 different providers so we can take advantage of the best interest rate at the time, and also recommend some adjustments to the limit of the lease facility available.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. Councillors, any question in relation to this item? Any comments? Mover of the motion, Councillor Carr.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. I'd like to move the recommendation that Council 1 reduces the current lease agreement with Vestone from $1 million down to $700,000 and enters into a new lease agreement with CBA for $700,000. And 2, reviews the master lease facilities in 5 years' time prior to the 30th of June 2030.
Thank you, Councillor Carr. A seconder, please. Councillor McDonald. Councillor Carr.
Pretty straightforward, Madam Mayor.
Yeah, thank you. Councillor McDonald,
No.
any comments?
No,
Anybody
thank you.
got any comments? No? Abby? We'll move the motion as tabled. Moved by Councillor Carr, second by Councillor McDonald. Those in favour? Carried. Thank you. 9.5, lease agreement between the Glenelg Shire Council and 3RPC Incorporated. Mr. Hall, sorry. Sorry, I had to think about that for a minute. Sorry.
Madam Mayor, Council has had in place for some time a lease agreement with 3RPC for the Ruth Martin Memorial Building, including where the radio station is held and an upstairs flat. The lease is due to expire. A review of the lease terms identified an inconsistency with council policy between that for community use and that for commercial activity, being the lease. Following discussions with 3RPC, it is recommended that council enter into two separate leases, one at a dollar for the community benefit and the other one for the lease component as at the commercial rate.
Thank you, Mr Hall. Councillors, are there any questions or comments in relation to this item, please? Councillor Jarlett.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The figure of the amount for the commercial component of the building, how was that figure arrived at? Is what I'd like to know.
Yes,
Madam Mayor, in accordance with the council's policy, an external provider is engaged to undertake what the annual rental value is for a property of that nature.
Considering that this building is primarily used for a community radio station, I'm not sure that that figure is within the spirit of giving to a non-for-profit organisation. Just a comment.
So, Mr Hall, my understanding is that the section of the building that is for a peppercorn lease is the studio section for 3RPC, is that correct?
That's correct, Madam
And
Mayor.
the other section is the residential component, which there's a figure there for the rental on that.
That's correct, which the radio station lease out to a third party, Madam Mayor.
And just trying to, when you say it's inconsistent, this is because this has been a 9-year lease, so now then our policy comes into when staff are reviewing this lease, we go under the policy.
Correct, Madam Mayor. So the policy outlines that for the where it's been for community use, that consideration can be for a peppercorn, but where for the use is for commercial value, that it should be based at commercial rates.
Just
McDonald.
thanks, Madam Mayor. Just a question. So this recommendation doesn't mean that 3RPC has to take on the commercial lease upstairs. They can still remain in their downstairs facility with their peppercorn lease, and council would resume rental of the apartment upstairs if 3RPC chose not to.
Through the Mayor, so that is possible, Councillor. We have had preliminary discussions with 3RPC about splitting it into both, and they have basically responded that they will accept the two.
Thank you.
Councillor Jarrett. You okay? Okay, Councillor Carr.
I just had two questions, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
We've referred to a council policy a number of times. I just can't find the correct reference to it in any of the documentation. Second question is the commentary refers to full commercial rental, and all the commentary is full commercial rental. But if we're renting out the first floor apartment, wouldn't that be residential? That's the question, I suppose.
Did you pick up that?
Through the Mayor, so the policy is the leases and licences policy of council.
Leases.
And the second component is commercial or residential, basically not being not-for-profit.
Does that answer your question, Councillor Carr?
Yes.
Yeah.
I suppose the next question is...
I thought you would have another question.
I would have liked, it's a comment, I suppose, I would have liked a copy of that since it's so important to how this is applied, and I'm assuming, Madam Mayor, that we've got many buildings across Glenelg that, you know, may have a similar, if not the same situation, which, and I'm probably in the same page as Mr. Jowett at the minute. It's come as a bit of a surprise, this particular increase to this non-for-profit organisation.
Councillor Jowett.
Just a general question. What would be the ramifications if we decided as council today not to charge the $9,152 for the upstairs part of this building and decided to charge a lower amount?
I'll have a go at this. I would imagine that we would be outside of our current adopted policy, Councillor Jowett.
What would the ramifications of that be?
Essentially, it's probably no direct ramifications, Councillor, but the idea of having a policy is to provide guidance and consistency about how you approach certain elements, and staff have worked through based on the guidance given by the council policy. We are not aware of many other elements such as this. This one has only come to council's attention because the lease is actually due for renewal. I can't remember in the last 5 years of ever coming across a situation where a not-for-profit has a commercial component, so it is rather unique. It would be, I would encourage council if to have a policy that either council applies by the policy or actually has the policy change.
So we, just following on that logic, we could, as a council today, decide to charge a lesser amount if we chose to. Without
Through the Mayor, my question would be on what is the basis of how you determine that amount, and how do you make sure that that is consistent for any other not-for-profit, compared to also how council applies funding for community groups outside of community grants and precedents for that.
Okay. Thank you.
And I think the notion is that this doesn't prohibit 3RPC charging more rent than what we're suggesting.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Can I just confirm the situation for 3RPC in terms of subletting an apartment in that situation, that council would be responsible for all maintenance and repairs and replacements of existing fittings, should that be required, and also that 3RPC are still at liberty to sublease their own area downstairs should they find excess space that they don't particularly need.
Madam Mayor, so the response to the first bit for Councillor McDonald, the residential tenancies leases outlines the responsibilities for landlord and tenant responsibilities. As for the second, if 3RPC wish to sublet a component of the lease, they would need council or through delegated authority permission to be able to do so. Okay,
thank you.
Councillor Pepper.
Just a comment, Madam Mayor. Look, I can appreciate what Mr Hull's saying in our rules, in our lease agreements, and I can understand there that we've got to sort of perhaps abide by that, but I just can't get my head round of its massive increase, and I'm just sort of struggling with that a bit, as just to be jumped up like that so much. But that's just my comment, my opinion, Madam Mayor.
It hasn't been reviewed for 9 years, Councillor Pepper.
Yeah, rightio.
Any further comments, councillors? Questions? There's a motion there on page 28. Do we have a mover? Councillor McDonald.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I will move the recommendation in its entirety, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder, please? Councillor Angelino.
Excuse me, Madam Mayor. I'd like to move an amendment, if I could, that the amount in item number 4, $9,152, be amended to $4,160.
Okay, thank you. Move it. Okay, Mr. Hull.
I understand that we had Councillor McDonald move the recommendation and Councillor Angelino second it.
Yes.
So there's to seek an amendment to that motion. It would need to meet the approval of
The mover and the second.
the councillors that moved and seconded the motion.
Yes. Are you happy with that, Councillor McDonald?
I'm happy for that to be considered.
Councillor Angelino?
Yes, the same as Councillor McDonald, reconsidered.
So councillors all clear on that? In item number 4, that we set the rental figure for $4,160. The balance of the recommendation remains the same.
Correct.
Councillor Charlotte, would you like to speak to that, please?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Considering that if the rental part of the property is rented out, the money, any money that they do get is being put back into the radio station for improvements of their facilities, and that it's everyone that works there is a volunteer. I just feel that the 550% increase that we're putting from one lease to the other is just far too high. That this is a more reasonable figure for an increase, and that I feel this is more within the spirit of giving to the community.
Thank you. Does anybody wish to speak against that? Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm comfortable with it, but I think we have a policy and we are responsible to honour our policies unless we are prepared to change them. And considering we are still offering 3RPC a total peppercorn rent for their whole area downstairs, which again they can apply for sublease opportunities should they find spare space. They are also entitled to apply for community grants as required to support their community venture. And I think as a radio station, they also would be having sponsors and advertising components for their income, but that's irrelevant to the motion at play.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Somebody to speak for the motion? Yep. Did you want to make a comment? Did you want to make a comment?
I'd like just clarification on which motion because,
as I said, it is the amended motion.
Yeah. So
in item 4, the figure is 4,160.
that's the one.
That's what we're discussing at the moment. That's on the table.
No, I think it's all been.
Go on.
No comment.
No comment.
It's all been said. It's all been said, Madam Mayor.
I will make a comment. Until I didn't realise we did have a building lease policy, and as Mayor, I feel like I need to uphold our current policy, and we say transparency and good governance. It is not about the parties involved in this particular item that we're discussing tonight. It is about Council's policy, and I think that perhaps a broader discussion that we need to have at some stage is whether we need to review that policy or not. But in its current form, if this is the determination and we're splitting this into, we are still giving our not-for-profit organisation their peppercorn lease and this particular building has a residence attached to it, which is a commercial component. We talk about actually making sure that we are getting value for money, and that's how the policy is written. So for a governance issue, I am going to have to go with our policy, councillors, and I'm just putting that on the table. It's not about the parties or anything else, it's about our policy position from a governance point of view. That's just my comment. There's no further comments, questions. I will put the amended motion, which councillors please, items 1, 2 and 3 are as tabled on page 28. Item 4 sets out a rental figure of $4,160 per annum as the detailed there, and number 5 remains as detailed on page 28. The amendment was moved by Councillor Jarlett.
Point of order.
Yes.
Clarification.
Yes.
So you spoke about the policy, council policy leases and licences.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
You were talking about sticking to council policy.
Yes.
Leases and licences.
Yes.
But we've stayed with the amended motion, which isn't in line with that. Just the commentaries didn't match the motion we landed on. That's okay, I'm confused myself.
You've confused yourself. Okay. So I'll explain.
We might need some help.
I'll have a go at explaining this. What is written there in the paperwork, the recommendation, the full figure of the 9,152 is determined under council's policy.
Yeah.
The amendment suggests a figure of 4,160, which is outside the policy. Because the policy talks about a commercial rate. Okay? So the commercial rate, in its purest sense, is what's tabled there at the $9,152. The amendment says something quite different than that, which is half of that or whatever that might be. Okay, so it's not within policy, so it's not consistent with the policy. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Clear as mud or clear?
It's clear.
Crystal clear.
Thank you for the clarification, and
Yep, that's fine.
vote on the amendment and see where we go from there.
Okay. So I'm going to put the motion. Those in favour of the amended motion? Those against the amended motion? Thank you. That's 4-2. So we'll go back to the original motion. So Councillor McDonald, you moved that motion. Councillor Angelino, you second that motion. I'll put the original motion as tabled on page 28. Those in favour of the motion, raise your hands, please. Those against? Now I'll use my casting vote and I'll go with policy. And that's the determinable on that one, and I'll use that as the basis. So that is 4-3. The motion is carried. Did you want to call for a division?
Yeah, we'll call for a division.
Call for a division.
Call to division. Okay, those in favour, please rise. Those against? Thank you, councillors. Good debate. Well done. Councillors, we'll move on to 9.6, the Audit and Risk Committee meeting minutes from the 5th of June 2025. Councillor McDonald.
Oh, Mr. Hall?
Oh, sorry, Mr.
Throwing you completely off.
Sorry, Mr. Hall.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, so the minutes of the Audit and Risk Committee from June 2025 are provided for councillor consideration. It is a requirement that minutes are tabled at the next available council meeting. In addition, Madam Mayor, there's also the Audit and Risk Charter has been reviewed and considered by the committee with a couple of minor changes, which is also presented for council adoption. And the annual work plan also has been reviewed by the committee and is provided up to council. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Hall. Sorry about that. My apologies. Councillors, any questions in relation to the Audit and Risk Committee meetings from June? There is a recommendation there, page 31. We have a mover, Councillor McDonald.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I'll move the recommendation that Council 1 receives the minutes of the Audit and Risk Committee meeting held on June the 5th, 2025, 2 adopts the Audit and Risk Committee Charter 2025 to 27, and 3 adopts the annual work plan year ending 30th of June 2026.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Seconder, Councillor Jarlett. Any comments, Councillor McDonald?
No, just a brief one, Madam Mayor, thank you. Just in terms of the Charter specifies the functions and responsibilities of the committee, and they've very heavily scrutinised that Charter, as they have with the work plan preparation, with some amendments to financial performance and reporting, including the approach that to council assets, which should help with oversight in that area. So, very comfortable, thank you.
Councillor McDonald. Councillor Jarlett, any comments?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Audit and Risk Committee's work is very important to the functioning of council. Sometimes overlooked because it doesn't meet that often, but the work that they do behind the scenes is vitally important to the function of the council.
It absolutely is. If there's no further comments, councillors, I'll put the motion. It's been moved by Councillor McDonald and second by Councillor Jarlett. Those in favour? Carried. Councillors, 9.7 is the Councillors' Quarterly Expenditure Report. Do we have we don't need any commentary on that? Councillor Carr.
I'm happy to move the recommendation, Madam Mayor, that Council receives the Council's Quarterly Expenditure Report for the period 1st of April 25 to the 30th of June 25.
Thank you. A seconder, please. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
It's been moved by Councillor Carr and second by Councillor McDonald. Those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Councillors, we'll move on to 9.8, the Community Satisfaction Survey 2025. CEO?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So this item has been prepared to enable consideration of the 2025 Community Satisfaction Survey. The Community Satisfaction Survey programme has been undertaken since 1998, providing participating councils with a snapshot of performance as indicated by residents randomly selected from across our municipality. A total of 400 Glenelg Shire residents were interviewed in total during quarterly survey periods. The results for our council are compared against other large rural shires and statewide results, and they're shown in the full document which is attached. We've seen scores uplift or remain the same in 6 of the 8 core measures that they ask questions about. The most significant increases can be seen in overall council direction and community decisions. These are heartening improvements as 2024 saw all measures bar customer service lower than the large rural and statewide averages. The data indicates that Casterton residents are most satisfied by the performance of council, but yet 50 to 64-year-old males are the least satisfied. The report does not provide the detailed reasons for this response, but is an indication that there are actions being taken in Casterton that we should be replicating potentially in other areas of our community to provide a better overall service to the residents of the Glenelg Shire. There was a small drop in the score for customer service this year, so we will see over the 25-26 period a renewed focus on our customer charter commitments, re-emphasising the importance of customer service being a role that everyone must take seriously within council, and it doesn't rest solely with the customer service teams. So this evening the recommendation is that councillors note the Community Satisfaction Survey for 2025.
Thank you, CEO. Councillors? Councillor Carr?
Yeah, look, thanks, Madam Mayor. I do have a question about the survey, and Just in relation to the percentage of people who took the survey that had contact with council, you know, and what did that figure look like?
Through the Mayor.
Yep.
So of the 400 residents that they managed to get on the telephone to answer the question, 62% recognised that they'd had some contact with council over the period of this reporting period.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions, councillors? Councillor Pepper.
Just a comment, Madam Mayor. I think that it's, I agree, like with the CEO, that it's heartening in the regard that it's upward. There's still work to be done, obviously, and that's still what we've got to do. But at least I think that it appears that we're striving to going in the right direction, and so that makes me happy.
Oh, I'm glad you're happy. I'd be happier if somebody would move the motion for me. Thank you, Councillor Jarman. You're moving?
I will move this motion. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Pepper, do you want to second it and then make a comment? That's fine. You second?
Yep.
Yep, good on you.
I'll move the motion as it's written.
Thank you, Councillor Jarman.
Comment. Yes. Thank you, Madam Mayor. As it's been mentioned here, that the overall it's either stable numbers or our numbers have increased, especially in overall performance. There's still a lot of work to be done there, going by these figures, but we are heading in the right direction. I think the community can see that. We've got a more harmonious council. We're trying to do our best to do the right thing by the community, which could not have always been said in previous councils. And I hope that they stick with us and see that we are heading in the right direction.
Thank you. Councillor Pepper, did you want to make another comment? Or are you still, happy?
We just can't sit back on our laurels. We've just got to keep working, though.
That's right.
Thanks, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillors, I will make some comments. Stop nodding there, Councillor Carr. Look, I think it's really pleasing. I mean, look, this time last year, councillors, the councillors that were at the table owned this report and the report was not good. But as Mayor, I took it on board prior to the CEO starting and we said the line was in the sand and we owned the report. It was not good. And we said that we would work towards improving that and gaining people's trust. A 12-point increase in our overall performance is pleasing, but we've still got a lot more work to do. It doesn't just mean that that's council that's increased our overall performance. That's the CEO, her team, every one of our staff members. We all work together for our community every day, providing those services. We are a good team, the administration and the councillors together. So whilst we can pat ourselves on the back and say well done, that must be extended, CEO, to our staff that do a wonderful job every day supporting council and supporting our community. And, you know, it'd be remiss of me not to note that Casterton residents are the most satisfied and the happiest in the Shire. So we can only expand and hope that we could continue with that across the whole of the Shire. That's tongue-in-cheek, councillors. I'm sorry, I just couldn't. But perhaps we'll need to increase that. But look, well done to the administration CEO, and we look forward to continuing the work. And you know, we did a lot of work around our council plan that we've put out for community consultation. So that's all part of our work plan that we're going to do for the next 4 years. And we want our community to be satisfied with the commitment we're making to them. Councillors, Councillor Jarlett moved the motion, second by Councillor Pepper. Those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Another one here. 9.9, Councillor and Chief Executive Officer, leave of absence. There's a recommendation there on page 43, councillors. Councillor Carr.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I'd like to move the recommendation that Council approves the Councillor and CEO leave of absence register presented as a confidential circulation under section 35(1)(e) 4 for 6 of the Local Government Act 2020.
Thank you. Seconder, please. Councillor McDonald. Councillor Carr, procedural.
Procedural, Madam Mayor.
I'll put the motion. Moved by Councillor Carr, second by Councillor McDonald. Those in favour? Carried. Thank you. There is no urgent business this evening, councillors, and we have not received any questions for tonight's meeting. So I'll move on to number 12, which is the confidential reports. There's a recommendation there to close the meeting to members of the public.
I'll move that.
Councillor McDonald.
I'll move that recommendation as written, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Angelino, you're seconding
Yes.
that? Thank you. Moved by Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor Angelino. Those in favour? Carried. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Charlie. Good to see you. And we'll close the meeting to the public. Thank you.